religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sie, and welcome to yet another edition of the Hour of Politics. Welcome, and welcome to today's edition that promises to be exciting for an activist known for his work for Liberia and Liberians is seated comfortably in the house to discuss a subject that is border on sincere nation building. Martin Kollie is my guest, and this is an exclusive. We will discuss the issues that matter. Welcome, folks. Do us a favor. Share that button. Hit that share button to put it right. And let us get this broadcast to as many Liberians as possible. For the truth, the Bible says, will set us free. Martin is here with the truth, and I'm here to ask the right questions so that he can be able to explain himself better. Welcome, and let us do this. But before we get started, let's see what's on the menu before we welcome our guests in. Today's main topic for discussion, credentials fraud. Fake degrees we're talking about in Liberia and its impact on nation building. Since this is an exclusive, we will also talk about other things that matter in Liberia. For example, we want to talk about the seizure of arms and ammunition by the Liberian National Police. What is going on here? Is it even true? Martin will weigh in. We're also going to talk about Western Cluster operation in Liberia. What's going on there? Well, Martin is saying the people of bombing, they are being duped and dumped. Well, he's here. Also, folks, we will also be talking about what should we do about this whole thing about the census, right? Census in Liberia. What should we expect now that the census, according to the government, is ongoing and everything going smoothly? But the start of the census was so chaotic. So we'll be talking the national housing and population census. Martin will also weigh in. Well, at this time, now that you have the menu, let us welcome our guest for today's edition of the Hour of Politics, activist Martin K. and Kollie, who is joining us from Ezra. Martin, it's good to have you today.
Thank you, Mr. Sie, and I am glad to be here. It is always an opportunity whenever I'm invited by such a widely monitored platform to make it my business as a Liberian first and an activist in general to talk about some of the issues back home. Because if we don't share our thoughts on these issues, it means that our people will not be enlightened about what the truths are and what we can do as a nation to resolve some of the contradictions on the home front. So I just want to appreciate you and your team, including Mr. Jah, for the great job you continue to do at Focus on Liberia. You are doing so much for the Liberian people in terms of providing credible, factual, and analytical information for public consumption. So thanks for your great work and Happy New Year to you and all those listening, Liberians in Liberia and out of Liberia. I just want to wish you Happy New Year, and I appreciate the invite.
Martin, we also appreciate the fact that you are always willing to come and speak on the issues so that Liberians can get to know what's going on. Happy New Year to you. The issues are serious, and so we need serious minds to discuss, and that is why we are here, fellow Liberians. On our menu is this issue of fake degrees. We have been hearing about this thing for so long, and Martin's institution, the campaigners for Academic Crimes Court, has been on a journey. And Martin, by the way, congratulations to you and your team for getting legally registered in Liberia. It has
Thank
not
you.
been an easy task. We want to
Thanks.
say congratulations to you. We can only do it collectively through institutions. That's the most powerful and forceful way to do it. So congratulations on that front. But Martin, let's get started with the issue of fake credentials in Liberia. First question, what was that thing or moment that came to you and your colleagues for which you said, well, we have to start this campaign of weeding out people who are using fake credentials, by faking it to make it in Liberia? What was that moment? How did it start? The idea?
Thank you. Thank you once more for the invite.
Mhm.
15 months ago,
Mhm.
we embarked on this journey, this national journey, to sanitize the academic corridors in Liberia.
Mhm.
We did so with the conviction that our people, the Liberian people, are suffering as a result of public inefficiency. And I would like to repeat, the Liberian people are suffering as a result of public private inefficiency or incompetence, if you may like. And what is the driver of this incompetence? Or what is driving this incompetence? Academic fraud is the fundamental driver of this incompetence, not just in public service, but private service as well. Even at our various institutions of higher learning, you have lecturers, professors, instructors with fake credentials. How are we helping Liberia? How are we helping our country? What do we want for this country in the next 5 years? In the next 10 years? Where do we want to go as a republic, as a nation? What do we envisage or envision for Liberia? A society of fraud? A society of corruption, dishonesty, deceit, sycophancy, bootlicking? Is this the Liberia we want, Mr. C, in the next 5 or 10 years? The answer is no. So, before we began this journey, every other morning, Mr. C, you wake up, somebody is having a PhD or a double master's or whatever. Every other morning, and everybody is congratulating without even checking. So I woke up one morning, I said, this is too much. Every morning you'll see more than 3 persons talking about, I just obtained my PhD. Can you imagine? After sitting right in Monrovia doing nothing, buying a degree online, or duplicating a paper that you do not deserve, but you're allowing Liberians to congratulate you because nobody is checking. So we took up the responsibility.
Mhm.
And Liberia has been a victim of this entrenched fraud for many, many years. And you are a witness to some of the incidents that have overwhelmed the education sector and even other sectors of the country. So we said, no, this cannot continue. We have to nip this in the bud. So CACC was birthed with the ultimate mission to promote academic integrity, fair competition, excellence, innovation, and service to country. That is the foundation upon which the CACC, the Campaigners for Academic Crimes Code, was formed.
And so, Martin, you started, and your presence on social media became known because of you fact checking degrees of individuals who are purporting to have obtained those degrees. Like you explained, you wake up every morning, somebody is coming up with PhD,
I'm
sometimes
telling
somebody
you.
and so you say, well, there has to be a way to verify if this is actually true. So you have been doing that now, right? So my question is, this whole issue of fake degrees, and you called it fake credentialist, the individuals who are obtaining the degrees through fraud, according to you. Or is there any danger? Because somebody might want to know why is Martin and his team, are on a journey. We know that is not right, but what is the danger in someone using a fake degree to obtain job in Liberia?
Okay, so I'm going to provide
Mhm,
some real tangible dangers
mhm,
or disadvantages.
mhm.
Let me use disadvantages
Okay.
of obtaining and utilizing
Mhm,
fake credentials,
mhm,
including degrees, because some people have fake CVs as
mhm.
well. The other day, I was joking with a journalist and I said the LBDI former president added yeast to his CV. You know, Ansoni, these are interesting times, but these times are really, really sad.
Martin, are you with me? Folks, bear with us. Okay, go ahead. I lost you there, Martin. So repeat whatever you just said.
Okay, I'm saying to you,
Mhm,
these are interesting
mhm,
times as well as sad times. And
mhm.
who are the victims of these sad times? The Liberian people. So, here are some of the disadvantages of obtaining and utilizing fake credentials. Imagine, Mr. C, a quote unquote medical doctor who fakes his credential, goes to JFK to perform an operation or a
Mhm,
surgery.
mhm.
Is that not a death trap? Of course, it is a death trap because he does not know what to do. So he's going to kill a lot of human beings at the JFK as a
Is,
result of
is
faking his.
this happening?
Oh, it has been happening,
Okay.
not only in Liberia but other countries.
All right.
Recently, a case in Kenya of such nature happened.
Mhm,
He faked his medical degree and he was performing surgery in one of the hospitals in Kenya. Aside from that, let's go to the University of Liberia, for example, where we have even exposed the dean of the Science College, the Thomas J. Arrow Faulkner College of Science and Technology, the oldest college of science and technology in the country. I want to make that notation. The man who presided over such a college had fake PhD, James McLean. It took the resolve, the courage, the commitment, and gentility of the CACC to expose him. He was dismissed. Do you know he was also, quote unquote, impacting knowledge? What kind of knowledge was he impacting with a fake PhD? So you have affected dozens of students already. You know why the output of Liberian students, most Liberian students, I want to say most because I was there and I know what's happening.
mhm.
Most Liberian students, you know why the output is poor? Because you got fakers in your classrooms. So you are destroying an entire generation. You see what fake degree does?
And Martin, I want you to give me more on that. So, in a case where this person does not obtain the right credentials and is purporting to be a PhD in a discipline and is teaching, compare that with somebody who went through the vigorous, you know, learning process to obtain that degree.
Mhm.
How will that person perform who obtained the credentials, the right way, compared to the one who doesn't? How would that impact students, and how would the person behave? How would a person treat the subject matter? Even relate to students and impact knowledge.
The first thing is someone who doesn't know what he's claiming to have earned
Mhm,
becomes really, really hostile
mhm.
in the classroom,
Okay.
right? You have been through the classroom.
Yes, I have.
Likewise, me, you
Mhm,
know, when somebody doesn't know something, he always intimidates or she always intimidates because he or she doesn't want anyone to challenge him or her. So whatever he throws or whatever she throws at the students consume. Whether it is giggle, garbage in, garbage out, the students' responsibility is to consume. And as the students consume these mess or trash, they will give out mess or trash. Look at the society today. Some of our students are graduating, they cannot even write a simple sentence. Do we blame these students? Yes, they are not blame free, and so on. However,
mhm.
those academic frustrators who are in our classrooms take greater responsibility. And this is the contradiction that the CACC wants to resolve in the homeland. This is what we want to deal with from the very root of our education system. Look at the elementary schools across the country. How many of our elementary students can read today? In the 70s, in the 60s, in the 80s, when somebody in Liberia tells you that I'm a graduate of an elementary school, that person reads or writes. But today it is not happening. Somebody graduates, for example, from grade 6, he doesn't even know how to write his own name. So, what are we giving the students at that level? What are we giving our students at the level of junior high, at the level of senior high, and even at the level of tertiary level? This is why, Mr. Ansoni, we officially communicated with the National Commission on Higher Education. And our demand was very simple. Look, these are our observations. After thorough investigation and general assessment across the education sector, there is a need because in our purview and conscience, the system has eroded. So there is a need, an urgent need to conduct a national verification credential audit, not only at the level of tertiary, but we must begin even at the level of nursery. And this was our recommendation. As a result of that recommendation and our advocacy, the National Commission on Higher Education released a statement that they were going to begin with universities across the country.
Mhm.
To date, that process hasn't begun. That process has not begun. The job we are doing is the job of the National Commission on Higher Education and the Ministry of Education in the country. We are
So,
not getting,
Martin, let me
Mr.
ask
Smith.
this question quickly. So, are you suggesting here, or am I
Yeah,
gathering
I
from
wanted to lay
you?
my thought on this.
Go ahead then. Go ahead, Martin. Folks, bear with us. It seems to be there is a little interruption at Martin's end. His internet should be back on, and we will continue the conversation. I'm Anthony here. This is the Hour of Politics, and my guest is activist Martin K. and Kollie. Martin, we lost you there, so continue. But I was about to ask, right, Martin, do we not have any credential verifications institution in Liberia, or there is an institution that should be doing it that is not doing a job when we don't have any verification measure in place in Liberia for people who are professionals in our country?
Now, let me say this to the general public, because a lot of people are following. Across the landscape of the Republic of Liberia, there is no verification agency. Like in the United States of America, you got a clearinghouse, right?
Right, we do.
Yeah. In China, you have the National Verification Authority. A lot of other countries, even in Africa, you go to Rwanda, you go to Kenya, you go to Nigeria, you go to Ghana. Even Sierra Leone now. Sierra Leone recently established a verification authority to check credentials. You know that a lot of these countries copy what we are doing at the level of CACC, and they are now institutionalizing our vision. But Liberia is still lagging behind, even though we started it.
Martin, how can these people be copying you? You just got registered, right? And there are other institutions that have been doing it. You talk about the one in the US. So I don't think it should be about copying you, but go ahead.
No, I'm not saying US. I'm making specific reference to Sierra Leone. I'm making specific reference to Rwanda. I'm making specific reference to a number of African countries. They just started. You can check for yourself. Before they could even start, we had started already. So I'm saying we started before they could even think about starting. Sierra Leone just established a National Credential Authority, right? Because of what we've been doing in Liberia. I'm in touch with some of the folks in Sierra Leone, for example. So I'm saying this is a vision for any serious government to buy. Because you know what it does, Anthony?
No.
It saves millions of dollars for the government to implement basic projects and programs. And I'm going to justify why it saves millions of dollars. I want to do an analogy, right? Like the other day, I said on one of the talk shows in Monrovia, peace be to his arches. I always like to make this analogy because it highlights the level of crisis in our country. Tanzania had similar crisis within the public sector, to be specific. At that time, President John Pombe Magufuli was the president, peace be to his arches. He's dead now. One of Africa's favorite sons, with a lot of energy and vision. He was once called the bulldozer. What did he decide to do when he became president? When he took over the Tanzanian government, he immediately announced a national credential audit. As a result of that national credential audit, 10,000, I'm not saying 1,000 or something, 10,000 academic fraudsters were exposed and weeded out. You can check it. It's on the internet. The report is even on BBC. When he exposed and weeded them out, 10,000, in less than 3 years, Tanzania became a middle-income country. So you see the result you get as a result of weeding out academic fraudsters. Do you know how many people are in technical positions? They just don't know what to do. As a result, we are not getting any deliverables or tangibles that we should be.
And you think the reason they don't know what to do is because they have fake credentials? Chances are that some people might have acquired, or some people actually acquire their credentials the right way. They might not just be innovative. They might not just, have the rightful experience to do what they are charged with to do, isn't it?
No, but that's a whole different case.
Okay.
Right? That's a whole different case aside from fake credentials, because we are talking about fake credentials. It is a different case when someone is qualified but incompetent. There's a difference between qualification and competence.
Okay.
Right? You can be qualified but not competent. Qualification basically has to do with knowledge acquired. Right? Formal knowledge acquired, probably from a university or any formal school or formal program. Right? They could give you certificate. Yes, you have the certificate, but what can you do with all the certificate? Okay, if we minus the certificate that you acquired from the university, what can you do as an individual? So basically, competence looks at what you can produce, your output, your deportment, your ability to perform in a particular position that you have been preferred for. So it is a whole different case. This national campaign basically is about weeding out fake credentialists. We can go to honor performers. That's a whole different national discourse or debate for another day.
Okay.
But our particular focus and the reason why we had to pursue our legal status, thankfully, we now have it after 15 months of struggle. We are now a legally registered institution under the laws of Liberia. The reason why we had to pursue our legal papers, because those fraudsters were still arguing with us. How can you pursue us when you're not a legal institution? So we say, okay, though you are a fraudster, but you are challenging our status. So we'll get our legal papers. And you know what we're about to do right now? We're about to take people to court. We're about to take people to court. Oh yeah, that's our legal paper. Thank you, Mr. CA, for showing to the Liberian people. Those are our legal papers. Let the Liberian people see them. We are operating legally under the laws of Liberia because we are law-abiding citizens.
And so, Martin, before we get to all that you plan to do now that you are a registered institution, you wanted to talk about the disadvantages, right, of fake degrees and how it can, if you weed them out, how it can save the country money, and how it also, provide like a disadvantage to others, economically or in terms of jobs. You want to speak to that, please, quickly?
Yeah, sure. So, for example, a lot of qualified, competent people in the country are jobless, right? So, another disadvantage is if someone has a fake degree, he has made someone who doesn't have a fake degree unemployed already or jobless. Because he has taken the job that belongs to one person who is qualified and competent. So they are also contributing to unemployment in Liberia. That's one of the disadvantages. Another disadvantage is the misuse of tax dollars. Like I said, another disadvantage is you are deceiving an entire generation in the classroom. If you have a fake degree and you enter a classroom to teach, what are you going to teach when you don't know what you are going to teach? So you are going to deceive a whole generation. And when you deceive a whole generation, you damage the future of the entire country. You damage the future. Now, let me say this, Anthony. Human capital development is very critical to economic growth. So, fake credential in the context of economic is a constraint on economic growth. Fake credentials or academic fraud is a constraint on economic growth and development in the country. We are giving people free money for jobs they cannot do. You think it's fair? You think it's fair to other people who went to school through the classroom recourse to obtain their legitimate credentials? It is not fair. Let's be honest about this national debate. Let's be clear. For once in the history of our country, this country has existed for 176 years. What do we have to show in the area of health? What do we have to show in the area of education? What do we have to show in the area of social security? What do we have to show in the area of infrastructure development? What do we have to show in the area of youth empowerment? We've got nothing to show, absolutely nothing.
And Martin, fake credential can be a recipe for incompetence, because chances are that when one does not acquire the credentials rightfully, does not go through the vigorous training, they will be ineffective because they don't know what to do or they don't have the required knowledge. So let's talk about incompetence as a result of having fake degrees or faking it to make it. How is the incompetence that we have in our society, more so because of people not having the right credentials, impacting the country and nation building?
Okay, I'm going to give you a few examples, right? Let's go to the Ministry of Education, right? You have a lot of academic fraudsters there. We have exposed some of them, including the deputy minister, Latin data. He's incompetent. He's really, really incompetent, and we've exposed him many times. Because of his incompetence, look across our schools. The issue of monitoring and evaluation, very weak. Nobody is monitoring. Nobody is evaluating because the minister of education that should be supervising that particular area does not know what to do. He's incompetent. As a result of this gap or loophole or downside, if you may like, or disadvantage, a lot of our schools are declining in terms of quality. So education in Liberia right now is no longer about quality. Education is not qualitative. Education now is quantitative under the we-are-led government. And education should not be quantitative because it is about our future. It is about the future of our children. It is about the future of the next generation. So we should place more emphasis on quality instead of quantity. Because this commodity called education in the context of economic, it is an inelastic commodity. It has no substitute. So we should be wise enough to invest in quality education. The other day I listened to the president. At that time I was a student leader at the University of Liberia. I led over 20,000 students when I was a student leader at the University of Liberia. The president did not even consult the various stakeholders at the university before announcing his knee-jerk tuition-free policy. This is what incompetence does, Mr. C. Incompetence, this is what it does. When a president wakes up some morning and he announces a policy without broad-based consultation or analysis, his decision is not based on research and data. It affects the national budget as well because this is where off-budget spending comes in. So many things happen as a result of incompetence. Where do we take money for now to run the tuition? Look at how the university is challenged. The university is in crisis. I'm saying it and I can prove it because that's my alma mater. I sit in exile every day. I cry for the university. That's the only, the largest, the oldest state-run university we have. That's what incompetence does. When you give power to people who do not have vision and who do not have the patriotic courage to make any difference, no plan, no vision, no agenda, no strategy to deal with complex situations. In the midst of these contradictions, the citizens become the victims.
Folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony C. Of course, this is the hour of politics. My guest is Martin K. and Kollie. He is an activist. And we have a lot of things on our menu, but the first one is credential fraud in Liberia and its impact on nation building. Martin.
Hey, let me give you one of the disadvantages.
Okay.
Mr. C. I want to take you a bit to our recent investigation of the LBDI president who was compelled to leave the bank. Are you aware that after we had exposed him, one of the board members called me and said, Martin, you have saved the bank? Are you really aware of that? We have saved the bank. We saved the bank millions of dollars. We saved the bank.
And so, Martin, you've been able to prove that this guy was using fraudulent credentials and presided over the bank as president. And I think I read somewhere you said that, well, whatever he earned over the year and the benefits should be returned. I mean, this guy is saying you saved the bank. What actually is he talking about? How did you save the bank? What all you saved the bank that he's talking about? Did he explain that in detail?
So now, so the LBDI, right? The LBDI holds the savings of thousands of Liberians.
Okay.
You cannot have a criminal as the presiding officer or the CEO of the bank. I gave you an instance because I have his financial statement, right? and I'm going to publish his financial statement very soon. Before he could even leave the bank, he had transferred over 100,000 to an unknown account. That matter is under investigation as I speak to you. So one morning, all of us could wake up or who have waken up, and then you hear that the bank has become insolvent as a result of illegal transfer of millions of dollars. So it was in that context that he called and said, we saved the bank. And we are doing this all of love for country. And Sonny, nobody.
But the bank.
I'm coming on, Sonny. Let me just lay my thought on this quickly. Nobody pays us for this, right? We do this because we love the country. I was chased out of that country. But regardless of the fact that I was chased out, almost killed on the very day of my graduation, almost got killed. My only crime was to stand up and speak truth to power and say, look, Mr. President, the people are suffering. Stop building private mansions when JFK does not have paracetamol. Stop building private mansions when the university students cannot even afford chalk. Stop. You weren't elected to enrich yourself. You were elected to represent the ultimate interests of the people, especially the proletariat class, and not the bourgeoisies.
Martin, I want us to go deeper on the LBDR case with the bank manager, the president. And what I want to know, this gentleman, was the bank properly managed? How bad was the bank in terms of management as a result of somebody who headed the bank being a fraudster and he have the rightful credential?
The bank was never properly managed. Do your own investigation.
Yeah. So what are some of the things, or what were some of the things that were happening under his administration that as a result of this? I mean, he not having the proper credentials.
No, but I just told you that, for example, right, at a certain point in time, even the controller decided not to sign anything, and the auditor decided not to approve anything. So he used to sign, he used to approve. A lot of things happened, but I don't want to go in depth because of confidentiality. If I say certain things, people may know who actually gave me the information. But what I can say to you, even before his departure, the financial position of the bank was weak. The financial position of the bank was weak. I'm hearing people talking about he was trying to retrieve non-performing loans. Is he the only person who can retrieve non-performing loans? Before he came, the bank was existing in a better position. There are people who are qualified, competent, and with the integrity that can lead the bank and still get those non-performing loans.
So it's obvious, given that this man, given his behavior, is not somebody with integrity. Anything could happen at that bank, or yes, anything could happen at that bank. Was that the case?
Exactly our point. Because the thing is, right? Let's be honest here, right? The bank is an institution of integrity, and someone who leads the bank should be of integrity. You can have a criminal, a two-faced man leading the bank. He could wipe away all of the liquid assets one day. So let's be honest here. The bank is an integrity institution. The very survival of the bank is dependent on trust. If customers don't trust the bank will run into bankruptcy because there will be bank run. People will run for their money because they don't trust the bank. So financial institutions are built on trust. And the basis for trust or of trust is integrity. reliability, integrity, reliability. Those are the elements that encompass trust. So how can you have a criminal superintending a bank and then you are comfortable with that?
All right. Thank you, Martin. And let's come to CACC. You are registered now. Let us look at what you will be doing going forward. And maybe before we talk about going forward, you've been going after people based on your investigation have been using fake degrees. How many persons have you been able to shortlist so far as using fake degrees? And have you gotten in trouble with any of these people? Because some have been able to fight back.
You see, we've got no reason to target anyone.
Mhm.
This is not a political process.
Mhm.
Yes, Martin Kollie is an activist, but Martin Kollie believes in the truth. I'm interested in the truth. That's why we have exposed people in the opposition, the ruling position, the no position, and and whatever position you may think about. Because this is not partisan politics. This pursuit, Sonny, is deeply rooted or in tuned to the very soul of our country. Because at the end of the day, if the country produces group of liabilities, where is our future? Who accounts for that? Who takes responsibility for that? We
Martin,
need
you
to.
gone after the speaker. You said his PhD is fake. If I'm not wrong here, you have gone after Lester Tenney. You said his degree is fake. Are you right or are you wrong?
So let me just correct something. I didn't say
Mhm.
Lester's degree is fake.
Okay.
The Liberian people commissioned or asked
Mhm.
the CACC to investigate Mr. Tenney. We
Mhm.
did, and we confirmed
Mhm.
that his PhD is legit
Okay.
from the OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria.
In Nigeria. Okay.
Yeah. And they also asked us to investigate his first degree. Our investigation found out that, yes, he completed his program. He did around 141 credit hours. And at the
Mhm.
University of Liberia, what is required to graduate as a student of economics is 136 credit hours.
Mhm.
So we said he didn't graduate because, according to sources, a number of students were chased into exile by the Taylor regime.
Okay.
So they were under that pressure, so they had to flee. So he didn't graduate. However, he completed his
The
number of
studies.
credit hours.
Okay.
Let's talk about the speaker,
Yeah.
right? The
Mhm.
speaker is claiming to have obtained a master's in criminal justice and a
Mhm.
PhD as well from Columbia University. That's a fake.
Mhm.
That's a lie. And we provided all of our proofs. Buffer Chima, nobody should ever call him Dr. Buffer Chima. He doesn't have any doctorate degree. He doesn't have any master's degree, not even first degree. What is recorded for him as a fight is an AA degree. At that time, the college in Maryland was not even university. It was called Tubman College.
Tottenham
Tubman
College. Yeah.
Technical College.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used
He
to call
got
it
A.
TC.
Exactly. He got
Mhm.
AA in electrical engineering at that time.
Mhm.
That is the only thing on record for him.
Okay.
Besides that, he
Then
doesn't have
also
any.
we heard about the vice president and also about Chie. What
Yes,
did you find?
so let
Mhm.
me give you a synopsis
Mhm.
of what our findings were.
Mhm.
For the vice president, because she was so desperate to become deputy governor of the central bank, at that
Mhm.
time it was not the central bank,
Mhm.
I think it was called the National Bank, right, under the administration of Taylor. So she
Mhm.
faked her master's degree in banking and finance. She doesn't have any master's. We wrote the school, and the school issued a disclaimer.
Mhm.
Because of shame, she is refusing to denounce. But I have told the vice president, right? The vice president is from the same country I'm from, for example. So to tell you that this exercise is not intended to hunt anybody, this is not a tribal exercise. In fact, one of the person who doesn't believe in tribalism is Martin Kollie. The vice president is from my country, but I'm telling you, her degree is fake, and she has to take responsibility for this fake degree because she received tax dollars on this fake degree as deputy central bank governor under her husband. This is wrong, Anthony. Why are we treating the country like this? Why are we treating the country like this? We wrote the school, ABA, in the US, American Banking Association, because they have the Banking Institute under the ABA. The school said, no, we have never offered any degree before to anyone, not even Vice President Joel Howard Taylor.
How about you? What did you find?
Albert Shea lied that he has Masters of Science in Petroleum Engineering. That's a lie. And we provided the proofs also. So your vice president has fake degree. The Speaker of the House has fake degree. The Senate Pro Tem lied about his quote-unquote Masters of Science in Petroleum Engineering. And he used that same degree to go to the University of Liberia. And it made him professor of the geology department. Can you imagine? Why are we destroying the future of the country, Anthony? This man didn't have MSc in petroleum geology. I challenge him. You know why they can't take us to court? Because we'll win the cases. We challenge any one of them. Let's go to court. Since they have not taken us to court, now the CACC is a legitimate institution under the laws of Liberia. We are taking them to court.
And Martin, have you discovered individuals who have obtained fake degrees in Liberia as well? For example, the University of Liberia and other, colleges or universities in Liberia?
So there are many.
For example?
There are many. So for example, I give you an example.
Is Jefferson Kollie degree legitimate based on your investigation?
It's fake. It's fake. Come on, Sonny. You were very young when we exposed Kollie. Does Kollie look like even a high school graduate? Let's be realistic. Let's analyze for ourselves, or let's use common sense. Does Kollie look like even a junior high student? Kollie doesn't make sense, even in 30 seconds. He doesn't make sense, but he's the mayor of over 1.1 million people, most of whom are educated in Moserado County, to be specific, Monrovia. So why would you? So
this must be serious.
No. I'm coming on, Sonny. We need to deal with this Kollie debacle. It's important.
Should we waste our time? You already say enough because I've been following your work, right? And I think one of the colleges or universities in the county, you were able to release a report. I can't remember the name of that person who was heading one, I don't know, Grand Bassa or one of the counties in one of the counties.
Let me give you an overview, right?
Yeah, please.
Let me give you an overview because we have done a lot of work in the various counties. The former vice president for the Lofa Community College.
Okay.
He was dismissed as a result of our work. There's another one in Bond County who is the vice president now of the Bond Technical College. He has fake PhD, but they are refusing to dismiss him. Look at, for example, the former Minister of Agriculture, Mogona Flomo. He once claimed to have gotten or acquired 2 PhDs. Those are fake. But the man was serving as agriculture minister. You see why the agriculture sector was stagnated? It could not even move in front. It was going backwards. So you see the disadvantage of having fake degree. You have a minister of agriculture who fake his credentials. Go on his Facebook page now. He's no longer using doctorate degree. Look at your other senator from Magibi County, Jim Tolona. He is laying claim to 2 PhDs. You know which university he graduated from with a 2 PhD?
Oh, it's not Vision.
It's Vision, right in Nima County. How he can get 2 PhD from in Nima County in one old unfinished house? Even the University of Liberia does not offer PhD. There is no university in Liberia that offers PhD since 1847. Since 1847, the entire country does not offer PhD. Look at the youngest country in Africa, South Sudan. South Sudan was giving birth to, I think, 2010 or 2008. Go to the University of Juba. They offer PhD in almost 32 academic disciplines. Liberia was founded since 1847. If any Liberian citizen in Liberia desires or wishes to do PhD, he or she has to travel out of the country to Sierra Leone or to Ghana or to Guinea or to Ivory Coast or to South Sudan.
So Martin, staying on your investigation, right? Recently at the governance commission, you were able to release a report on somebody there. Who is that person and what the person lied about actually?
So his name is Philip Gito.
Mm-hmm.
He was the policy analyst. Yeah,
policy analyst. Yeah. Governance Commission.
So when we expose Vision International University, where Senator Jim Tolona of Magibi County is claiming 2 PhDs, then he was dismissed. So you see what the CACC is doing in a relatively short period. Are you seeing results? We brought down a bank president, right? An employee recently was dismissed from Good Governance Commission. The other foster of a representative from Grand Judea County, Ellis Grant, he was disgraced by the University of Liberia, Ibadan University in Cottington, right? The dean of the Science College was dismissed, right? The National Commission on Higher Education has announced a national verification credential exercise. Various universities across the country are doing their own internal process as a result of the advocacy we've launched. So if you look at what we've achieved together as a people in a relatively short period, you know that a lot of people, now I get calls, dozens of calls. My phone doesn't even rest as I'm speaking to you. People are calling me. They want to know whether the university they want to attend is legitimate. So you see where we're going, Anthony? At first, nobody used to call me to say, oh, can you check this, whether it's legitimate? But everybody is calling now. Everybody is cautious and careful. So you see,
and Martin, I think he's counselor now, but he's been Anthony, what's his name? Arthur Johnson. You flagged his credentials sometime back, and you were trying to stand his ground that you were not telling the truth. Where are we on that?
But Arthur Johnson is the first man we take into court. Let me just be clear on your program.
This man is a lawyer, and you're going to take him to court?
But a lawyer is not above the law.
I know, but he knows the law.
A lawyer should not be a fraudster. A basic value of the law is integrity.
And truth telling.
Exactly. To be a lawyer, you must be of moral rectitude. Moral rectitude. Arthur is bereft of moral rectitude. He doesn't have it. So how can he be a lawyer?
My understanding is that he's teaching in Liberia.
Yeah, he's teaching a university. We have written a university to even dismissing. But you know, Liberia, anything can hold because of the kind of leadership you have in power right now. They don't value education. If Liberia was like Ghana or Sierra Leone or Rwanda or Kenya, a lot of these people are in jail and they are restituting funds they were paid with on those fake degrees. But you know why it's not happening, Anthony?
No.
Even those who have the legitimate authority to persecute these people, they are also fraudsters, a lot of them. Look at how corrupt the judiciary is. Do I need to tell you? Have you now read the State Department report about corruption in the judiciary? Didn't you hear the former Chief Justice saying how corrupt some judges are? Justice is unsealed in Liberia. Poor people don't get justice. When you take your case to the court, you have to get a deep pocket to woof or interwoof judges and prosecutors. What kind of country is this? What kind of country we are building for the next generation, for our children's children? What kind of country we are building? Anthony? We are building we are building a country on fraud. We are building a country on deceit.
Martin, you are now registered. You are an institution. One man think that your goal now is to verify credentials. And most so based on what you just said, people might be reaching out to you, say, hey, I want to attend a university. Can you verify to see the university is legitimate, right? But a few things you said of recent, right? And all our war is about to be waged, and academic fraud and fake credentialists will be weeded out. You went on, we must bring back the merit system. Martin, you continue with our legal papers now in tight. We are about to take a lot of academic fraudsters to court. So that brings me now to this question about your institution that is registered. What would be your mission? What would be your activity? Are you just only going to be naming and shaming people, or will you be more about an institution that is providing verification of credentials, and, and providing a service to the people of Liberia? I mean, I just want to know, what will you be all about? Because you're talking about taking people to court and all. Will you not be convoluting what your responsibility is going to be as a professional institution?
I don't think so, because when these academic figures are discovered and exposed, they should also be persecuted.
Okay.
They should not go with impunity. This is what we think. And if you look at the penal code or the penal law of Liberia, fraud is an offense. And one of the foundation of fraud, the elements of fraud, one of the elements of fraud is academic fraud. So academic fraud is fraud. And the law says if you commit fraud, I think it's a second-degree felony. It's a felonious crime, in fact. It is now a misdemeanor. It's felonious. So it's a grave crime. So people should be penalized for committing academic fraud. So we are not only going to, yes, we have a lot of planning coming up, right? Early February, we are launching we are launching a site, a premier website. We are also launching a blog, Facebook page, Twitter account. Everything will be active. We are planning to establish our office. But you see, we don't have the resources. Martin Kollie is a student in exile. I am being assisted by people who are foreigners, right? They help me, say, okay, come to school and just learn what you want to learn. Nobody pays my tuition yet. Nobody takes care of me yet. I was chased out of that country. I had to cross the border midnight into exile. So it's somehow tough to begin an institution of such nature. That's why we are calling on Liberians from everywhere to support this exercise. This is a national process. We must take ownership of it, because at the end of the day, what it does, it creates more jobs. We created one job at LBDI and Sony. We just created a job at the Governance Commission. So we're creating jobs for qualified and competent Liberians. As we cut off these fake credentialists, we are creating jobs for people who worked hard to earn their credentials. So what I'm saying to you, the CACC is doing the job of the National Commission on Higher Education and the Ministry of Education. The CACC is also doing the job of the legislature. Look at the number of people we have exposed, political appointees. Some of them were not confirmed. Look at, for example, Darlington Job. How they call him? Said they appointed him at the airport. Darlington Kollie.
Yeah, Darlington Kollie.
We expose him. How we not expose him? He will have been confirmed by now as the managing director of our international airport. Look at the other girl we exposed. She was going maritime as the deputy.
Deputy Commissioner for Maritime. My understanding is Jefferson Koji's girlfriend.
Yeah.
What say her mother, who came to say you were not telling the truth about her status there, I think in Kenya, and where are we on that? Has it been proven?
Yeah, but I responded to her mother immediately because we had the fights. The thing about us and Sony at CACC, we are always.
But has she been confirmed, or she's not being confirmed because of the report?
She was booted out based on our report. She was booted out. We've exposed a lot of political appointees with fake credentials. They should be the work of the legislature, but we are doing the work of the legislature. Are we complaining? Have we asked anybody for money? No. We are still committed to this work because this work is tied to the future, the soul of our country, and we want to save the soul of our country. So this is what CACC seeks, and this is what we will pursue until its logical conclusion. Because
and so, Martin, finally, on the issue of fake credentials, the institution that you have established, the Campaign for Academic Crimes Court, For somebody who might be hearing about your institution for the first time, you are registered, you want to operate in Liberia. Bullet points, what are the things you're going to be doing specifically as a service to the people of Liberia?
Okay, so a few things we are going to do. The first thing we are going to embark on, we are going to release a long list of thousands of accredited universities and colleges, not only in Africa, but across the world,
Okay.
including online universities. So if, for example, a Liberian who sits in Grand Cape Man County, or a Liberian who sits in Grand Crew County, your county and my mother's county as well, if that person wants to attend an online school, say in the US, the CACC will provide guardians. Say, look, these are the accredited online universities in Minnesota, in California, so you cannot be misled or deceived by those online fraudsters. There are too many, especially in this age of ICT, information communication technology. The world has become a global village. Globalization is a new frontier. So a lot of things are taking place, coupled with technology being so advanced in this 21st century. You have got a lot of online fraudsters. Some of them are involved with phishing. Some of them are involved with all kinds of cyber crimes. So people have to be careful about where to seek knowledge. You can seek knowledge from just anywhere or everywhere. So CACC will be in the position to provide guardians for Liberians who want to seek online credentials as well as in-person credentials.
Okay, that's one.
We have done that already. That's number one. We have done that in terms of guarding people already, but we'll provide the list. The official list will come also very soon. Yeah. The next thing we'll do, we want to work in partnership with the legislature for two things. Either of the two things is palpable or possible, if you may like. Number one, we already have a law on fraud, right? We will call for an amendment to that law and include a provision in that law which calls for penalization or persecution of academic fraudsters and academic crimes. If we cannot amend, then we introduce a bill. Just to inform you on this platform, we have initiated a conversation with a few lawmakers already. They have asked us to do a concept. We have completed the concept and sent to them. That process is ongoing. Our intent, our ultimate goal is for people to be persecuted. Not just for CACC to expose you or you be dismissed. Yes, you are dismissed. But what happens to the money we've been paying you all these years as a result of your fake degree? Who pays back the money? You got to pay back the money. If you don't pay back the money, you go to jail. That's what a lot of countries are doing. Because you've been making thousands of dollars on these fake credentials. And you don't deserve those $1,000, those thousands of dollars. So who restitutes? You must restitute the funds because the funds belong to the people. You deprive the people. You misled the people. Right? So we will also be involved with that. We are already involved with that. The next thing we are going to get involved with, a lot of thinking is ongoing, collective thinking. We're looking at the business side as well. There are NGOs, there are employers in the country, in the private sector, who will also like to evaluate or do due diligence to the credentials of their employees. That's a whole different case. So we could add the entrepreneurial aspect to the CACC. Say, for example, a very big company wants to check or verify the credentials of their employees. CACC will serve as a service provider in that direction. And that kind of process is cost intensive. But our main goal is to weed out fake credentialists, promote academic integrity. Fair competition is at the very foundation of CACC's formation. And will uphold to that value until the logical conclusion of this national exercise. So what I have to say, Ansoni, is that Liberians in the diaspora, a lot of you value education. You know the importance of human capital. You know the kind of, that even where you sit, Ansoni, in the US here where we sit, even though I'm not going to say the state I am.
Yeah.
You know, but even here, Ansoni, where we sit, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know the kind of money that people invest in education. I don't need to tell you. I was just looking at an elementary school budget, I think in California, more than the University of Liberia budget. I don't need to tell you the kind of investment people do in education in the West. Because you know why the West is fast progressing more than any other place on earth? Because they believe in human capital development, manpower development. You can get all your diamond, you get all your gold at your business. If you don't have qualified, competent people to turn those gold and diamond into optimum benefit for the people, you are wasting your time. Your gold and diamond will be useless because you don't know what to do with it.
And Martin, I like you said that a lot of thinking going on. There is a credential verification institution that is called WES, WES.org, WES.org. That is World Education Services International. What they do is just verify people credentials. So they are a partner, or they provide services for a lot of institutions, including higher institutions of learning, universities alike. Like if somebody apply to an institution, they contact while say, hey, yes, this person in here, their credentials, can you verify that? So that's something you can do. And this institution is getting money for doing that. That is something that you can do, saying you say you are thinking, and I'm sure more than likely that's in that direction you are looking as well. Well,
Sure,
we
exactly.
wish you at CACC all the best. I know it has not been easy in registering and fighting people in Liberia, and also unearthing a lot of things. Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, because the point is, Ansoni, it has
Mhm,
never been easy to fight powerful people with
mhm,
fake degrees.
mhm,
You know, a lot of them and their surrogates, they have come
mhm,
after us,
mhm.
and
So have you not been wrong on anybody's degree since you started flagging, fake
if
degrees? Have you not been
if
wrong?
if we have been wrong, they will have sued us because what we are doing has legal implications. If you lie on somebody, they go to court, you pay a lot of money in damage.
But,
And
but,
I
but
am
most of you
telling you,
not in the country, so if they sue you, you're not there. How they gonna get you? Maybe that's why no
no,
one
you
has
don't
sued
need
you
to
yet.
be in the country before you be sued.
I know,
According
but
to
how they gonna get you?
you don't need to get me. I have my lawyers.
Okay,
Go to court. My
all
lawyers
right,
will represent my interest in court,
okay,
and we respect the verdict of the court. We'll go through the court process. I will provide my evidence. I am challenging them again. I'm challenging Speaker Buffer Chimo. Let him go to court. I challenge him. Let Arthur Johnson go to court and tell me that AIU credential is valid. I challenge him. Let the pro tem go to court and say he got MSc in petroleum geology. I challenge him. I challenge them. I'm
all
challenging
right.
all of them.
Thank you. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the seizure of arms and ammunition by the Liberian National Police at the free port of Monrovia. Who is telling the truth at this stage? Or somebody was trying to import that number of guns in the country. We'll get Martin's take on Western Cluster. He wrote an article that is on his Facebook page, and he was able to unearth a lot of things. Martin will also want to talk about national housing and population census. And finally, what should Liberians expect from their governance this election year of 2023? Will they govern, or will they be playing politics as usual? A short break. We will be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
And I am Anthony C. and we are back with you. We will go to the seizure of arms and ammunition by the Liberian National Police. Martin has something to say. Liberians want to hear from this activist. According to the police, about 450 machine guns were seized at the Freeport of Monrovia, including other areas of Montserrado County. The Joint Security and Intelligence Forces identified the ringleader of the smuggling operation as Boy Benjamin Boka, a Liberian who lives in Texas, United States of America, according to the law enforcement community in Liberia. Mountain, this is something everybody talking about. What is your take? What is the truth here? Can anybody with any intention of, let's say, insurrection, and you listen to the police press conference as well, bring guns through the ports that is controlled by the government? What is your take here?
So I'm going to be very clear because this issue is tied not only to national security, but economic security as well. The entire quote-unquote gun saga is a scam. I'm going to prove it. Right? I'm going to prove it with facts. This situation is like a smoke screen or a pretext intended for two reasons or intended to achieve two targets. Number one, to instill fear in the citizenry ahead of the 2023 October elections. Number two, it is intended to employ Machiavellian tactics, right? Repressive tactics of intimidation and other stuff.
Are you saying the guns were planted at the airport by the government?
Oh, yeah, sure. I can say that on your show with all fear or favor. I don't want to say about the government, right? But what the government is saying is not true. And I'm going to prove this with documentary evidence. Have you heard me speaking on this before? This is my first time on speaking on this, right?
This is my first time to hear from you on this.
Yeah. But if you check my page, I haven't spoken on this.
No.
The reason why I didn't speak on this, or I haven't spoken on this, is because I was investigating, Anthony.
Okay.
You know, I like to investigate. I like to dig out the facts. And I'm about to reveal the facts for your listening audience and the Liberian people in general.
Okay.
When the police director said he found or he discovered a cache of guns and ammos, what did he say? He said those ammunitions were discovered in a container, right?
Yes, container.
My only disappointment is the press people who were present could not ask him about the details of the container. So what did I do as an activist? Being fully aware of my obligation to the people, being fully aware of my obligation to speak truth and identify the flaws across the landscape, I managed to have investigated the details of the container.
Of that shipment.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to give you information from the manifest, the official manifest of the container.
Okay.
And I'll publish these things on my page. Liberians haven't heard this before. Nobody knows the container number. Nobody knows where it was going, but I will tell you where it was leaving from and where it was going as well. From the official manifest that was generated from the system. I'm not going to tell you who gave me these facts because my sources are confidential 100%. So let's go to the container number. Let me get it quickly.
Please do.
Okay, so the container number where they said they got the guns from in, the container number is MSKU 911 8129. That's the container number on the manifest of the container where the quote-unquote gun scheme for him.
Mhm.
Did this container come to Liberia, or was it in Liberia already? The container was already in Liberia. And this container was due to leave Liberia to a pending destination. And
So hold on, Martin. Hold on, Martin. Your investigations say the particular container, police said they discovered to have guns in it, did not come from anywhere at any point, but it was in Liberia. Is that correct?
It was in Liberia, yeah.
Okay.
It was about to leave Liberia for Monrovia specifically to a pending destination. I will publish this on my page. I will publish the entire information on my page so Liberians can follow it. They will be wondering how I got it. That entire gun thing is intended to instill fear in our people because they know they will not go back. The people will vote them out. And I will get to the bottom line of this entire scheme. I will tell you why they did what they did.
And
now,
wow.
And Sonny, let me just conclude on this,
please,
right? Because I'm going to publish whatever I have for the Liberian people to read, and the press people now should ask them for the continual number, and let's check in the system together where the continual came from nowhere. It was in Monrovia where they took the gun from. It was leaving Monrovia to another destination, and the arrival date, as per the manifest in my possession, is the 17th of February 2023 at 7 a.m.
That's when it was scheduled to depart Liberia.
That's when it was scheduled to arrive to the destination. I'm going to publish this, and so I'm going to send it to you in file.
Yeah, please do. We need it.
Yeah. So why people are instilling fear in our people? If the people don't want you to go back, it is their right to vote you out. You don't need to create a condition to instill fear in them. That the same thing they did with Yeke Koluba's car. They said they found gun in it. Where is that case? So these people create all kinds of lies to intimidate our people. All kinds of lies. The other day, the same president told us we should provide security for ourselves by buying CCTV camera.
And yeah, Martin, staying with the manifest there, I have some questions. So you're saying that, oh, well, the manifest only show that this container was scheduled to depart Liberia to a destination. And you also said the guns, you believe the guns were planted. Is there reason to believe that the guns were to leave Liberia to a destination, or they decided to just use the container as a place for them to plant the guns? So why are you trying to explain to us here?
So what my investigation surmises or presupposes is that this container was already in Liberia and they decided just to use it. You know why the police director never mentioned the detail of the container? He just said container. He kept saying container. Go and listen to him. And nobody could ask him what the detail of the container. Now,
so you are saying that they have fabricated or just came up with a name of the Liberian called Benjamin, based in Texas, just out of the blue sky to pin this person black because they are saying this man shipped the container to Liberia.
But you know who the Benjamin is? Did they give you details? Now, in a high-profile investigation of such nature, and Sonny, right? I am not a criminal justice practitioner, but this is a high-profile case. You don't just say Benjamin. The other woman, he called Deborah. You don't just call people Deborah. There's a
no, they gave the full name. His name is Boy Benjamin Boka.
Yeah, Boy Benjamin Boka. Still, it doesn't speak to the fact about his identity. Anybody can be Boy Benjamin Boka. As a security personnel in a high-profile case of such nature, when you say Bob Benjamin Boka, who is he? His citizenship.
And this guy denied that at no time did he send anything to Liberia. That's what he's saying. I think he was on one of the platforms, so denied that. I did not. I have never, and I have no intention. And this guy works for an airline, I understand, according to him. So he's denied all of these things that the police say. So continue on that.
Where we're going? These are the same police who told you that Melvin Early was not shot. Later on, we discovered that he was shot. There was the same police who told you, right, that nothing happened to Gifted Lama and that other man in the car who were killed. These were the same police who told you that the other AFL personnel who was shot say he shot himself. Was it not the same police, Anthony?
But Mountain,
So,
these
no, I'm coming,
guns,
Anthony. So the
based,
point I'm drawing,
I was just about to say, based on what the police said, these guns are all more like American-made guns and ammunition. So they are saying that they must have
no,
come from
but
America.
in the case, and Sony, we can be guessing because they were also identifying guns from China too. They mentioned China.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now, and Sony, let me just say this, right? To tell you what they're talking about incompetence, right? You say, oh, you got gun from Continuum, but you're giving details. You just said Deborah, the other one, that other one. So, and this is what they do when they're. This is
and
when
some of the guns they said they arrested in the roof of a house in Monrovia as well. There's a video that we have in our possession that we've been able to view that they were taking the guns from the ceiling.
They say they clean in the
they
ceiling.
arrested
Look at that
the
kind of
person.
spider story.
So, but Martin, what I'm trying to get at is why were the security forces? Because they said they were giving a tip. Someone informed them, gave them the intelligence that this is happening. Now, another one, in a community in Monserrado County, and then at a Freeport, and they were able to confiscate or seize all these weapons, right? So, I mean, if you are not believe what they are telling you, they just planting guns all over the place to do what?
So, Sonny, let me tell you to do what. So the gun they talk about out in the city, you saw it. The gun that they talk about
We have the video of them taking guns from the ceiling. Yes, in the video we saw the guns.
No. But the person who they say they took the gun from, you saw the person.
They said the person has been arrested.
They said the other person is at large. Now, I'm sorry. Let me tell you this for free. Let's begin the investigation from the continuum. To check continuum details, you can even check it online through Max Line. If I provide you all of the details of the continuum, and you will know whether the continuum in Liberia or whether you arrive in Liberia or whether you live in Liberia. I am telling you, according to what we have gathered from the system, they continue the talking about we're already in Liberia, leaving to another destination, all of Liberia, and it's expected to arrive the 17th of February 2023 at 7 a.m. And I'm going to publish these things. Go and ask the police director which continuum you're talking about. Get all the detail you want to check. You can check it in the system. It's easy. But then giving you any detail, they're just telling you they see cache of arm. Let me tell you why they are doing it. And this morning I was on a local talk show and the citizens confirmed already. They are doing it for two reasons. Number one, they want to erect checkpoints all across the country with gunmen at those checkpoints. So they're looking for conditions to justify that action. That's number one. And they have already started erecting checkpoints with men with guns to intimidate citizens ahead of election. That's number one. Number two, let me tell you what they are doing it. They have already announced for people to start taking out tinted windshields from their cars. Yeah. So a lot of people are taking. So they were creating a condition to intimidate the citizenry. And the citizenry will not be intimidated. Mr. Weir has miserably failed and it's time for him to go. He can bring whole shape of gun, a whole plane of gun, and say somebody imported it from Asia or Europe or America like Benin. The people will vote him out. Nobody is afraid of that thing. That thing will not work. It will now, and let me say this to the CDC-led government, it will not work. You can even bring continuum of or how you can call it, mortar, the machine gun, you can bring whole continuums like a Benin. The people will vote you out.
And let's talk about the press conference. At the press conference, there was demonstration of the weapons being done by the police. And some law enforcement professionals are saying that was unacceptable. What was the intent? What was the goal of them telling, oh, it is this gun, this is how powerful it is, this is what it can do? What was that all about? What is your reading of that, Monty?
Well, I just told you it was purposeful, right? It was intentional. You are reminding the people about the past, the dark past, just by showing them no guns and demonstrating. You know how many people in that country traumatized as a result of the civil crisis and Sunni? Then you just put huge gun on television. You start cracking it. You start turning it around, demonstrating. You know how many people you have traumatized additionally when they begin to think about some of their family members who die as a result of these seeing guns? So to tell you, the people are not even professional. You call big press conference. You put guns on television. You just start showing it all around, pointing it everywhere. You say you're not arrest cache of gun. For somebody who is already denying, you can get continuing detail. You can get details of individuals. Who are they? Their citizenship, where are they from? Who are they linked to? Nothing. You just say you cache of gun. So you writing checkpoint now everywhere in Monrovia with gunmen, and you're telling people to take down their windshields. You are intruding into people's privacy. Why under early administration nobody told you to take down your dog windshield? Why now? Especially with less than 10 months to election. You think the people even know what they're doing?
The government through the police has promised that the investigation will be concluded and the facts will be brought before the Liberian people. This is not the first time. I don't know if there have been any logical conclusion or clarity on any investigation done by the Liberian National Police. We're talking national security here. We know our history, our recent past for war. We're talking guns here. Can we trust the police that there will be conclusion, that they will identify those they think they know are up to something here? Will we see something reasonable?
I'm sorry, how can you trust the police when you have an executive member of the CDC serving as Inspector General of the police? The police is a partisan police. The Republic has become a police state. The Republic has become a police state. Have you gotten any conclusion to the investigation of the 3 missing boys? Why about the auditors that died? Where is the report? All the mysterious deaths that have been happening as a result of insecurity in the country. Have you gotten any conclusion to any investigation? Now, let me speak simple Liberian English for our people listening. The government told all that they were going to release report in the case of Mervyn Early, who was shot. Where's the report?
All right, Martin, let's get to something else. You wrote about the Western Cluster deal, and you talk about Edwin Snow's involvement. And what I read from you, that's a lot. For those listening to us who have not had the opportunity to read what you wrote, and you said Liberia is being dumped and duped by not only Western Cluster, but that leaders in our country from Bombay County are like aiding and abetting to dupe the people of Bombay and dump them. Talk to us.
So before talking to you, Anthony, about how the natural resources of our country have been and are being exploited, abused, and mismanaged, I just want to show you some mineral resources that were mined 2 weeks ago by Western Cluster. You see here? This is from the Blue Lake in Bombay. I don't know whether the people seeing it. This is from the Blue Lake in Bombay. I'm going to show all the pictures.
No, Martin, I have that. I'll put on the screen.
Okay, yeah. You can just put on the screen, right?
Yep, I have that.
So generally, you know, when you have someone like Edwin Snow as senator of a county, what do you expect? Thievery. Look at what is coming out of a lake in Bombay County. So I captured my analysis this morning.
Yeah. And Martin, before you go to your analysis, you said these are minerals taken from the county by Western Cluster. Do you have an idea what kind of minerals are they and in terms of value? You don't have to give, monetary figures, but in terms of value, how precious are they?
Very precious. For example, the one with the purple color is called sulfur mineral, right? The one with the very white color is called zirconium. You know, I'm now a geologist, right? Envirogeologist. They will tell you the grade of these minerals and the value, the worth. Right. So my job as an activist is just to expose men like Edwin Snow, Ellis Tyler, who are depleting the natural resources of our country through criminal means. So this morning I provided a 2-page analysis. The title of the analysis specifically focuses on Bombing County. It's titled, Bombing, You Are Too Rich, but Your Children Are Too Poor.
Mhm.
The mafias in Edwin Snow and Ellis Tyler. And I hope bombing citizens are listening. A lot of them are in the US, Canada, France, and other places out of Liberia, you know. I hope they are listening. Their country is being looted heavily by this syndicate of hardcore criminals led by Ellis Tyler, Edwin Snow, and the rest of them. You think our country should be poor and sunny? A country of just 84,000 people?
But Martin, you are using some tough words here. You charging or accusing Snow and Alice Tyler of criminality.
Yeah, of course.
What is the criminality that they are involved with here that you're talking about?
So, for example, look at El Neto deal. Let's look at the entire Western cluster, right?
Okay.
I don't know whether you've read the agreement, the MDA, the Mineral
I didn't read the
Development
NDA,
Agreement.
but I read your entire post, so to give me a sense of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here.
So before going there, this is the extent at which bombing has been exploited. Between 1951 and 1977, you had a company in bombing called LMC, right? Liberia Mining Company. They shipped out of bombing 540 million worth of iron ore. Today, where is bombing? Bombing is still the way it is, or it's still the way it was since 1984. You know, then you had another company called El Nito. This was during Ellis Tyler's term. You know, Ellis Tyler was a speaker. Even Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president. She's from bombing. But look at Todman Bread today. Even the slum of Soweto is better than Todman Bread. El Nito promised 2.4 billion, right, for an initial production of 1.1 billion tons of iron ore from bombing country or the same bombing. Right. Later on, they dumped bombing country and then sold out to a company called CACC Goa for 90 million. They didn't do anything there. They didn't invest anything. They used their agreement now to get 90 million cash for another company through a 51% acquisition process. Is that fair to the people and Sony? No. Then let's move to Bombing County also has an oil company, right? It's called MPOR. The citizens were just protesting against the oil company. Bombing is so rich. So what I did was I did an analysis, for example, right? Say, according to the agreement, the MDA, right, the Western Cluster MDA, 30 million tons of iron ore. 30 million tons of iron ore leave Bombing County like every year. According to the World Bank, a ton of iron ore now costs $100 US. According to latest statistics, you can check on the World Bank's website. 2023 statistics, 100 United States dollars for a ton of iron ore. So if 30 million tons of iron ore is being exported from Bombing Hills, Bombing County,
and so $100 each.
Yeah, you're talking about 3 billion. But you know how much they're giving the country? 2.8 million. 2.8 million. 2.8 million. They call it social.
And what is the percentage there?
2.8 million. The percentage is just 0.093%. Not even 1%. I own the resources. You taking my resources. Then you can even give me 1% of the benefit of the resources. You're giving me 0.093% whole round year. Is that fair? But you don't blame these foreign concession companies and so you blame the leaders who enable them to exploit our people on various mines and plantations. And this is what we want to fight. I have called on the people of Bombing, if they are willing and prepared to fight this case on their behalf at the level of Global Witness, AT, OFAC, and other international organizations, including Transparency International, we can file a formal petition or a formal complaint about the abuse, misuse, and damage of public resources in Bomi County that is being led by Ellis Tyler, Edwin Snow, and other people. They have looted the county. Where are the citizens of Bomi? Bomi is dying.
Martin, Edwin Snow is a senator in that county. According to you, he and the Minister of Lands, Mines, and Energy renegotiated to bring, I think, Western Custard to Liberia, and correct me there. And that this complaint had owed the Liberian government $24 million that it should have paid. But when they, went to India to talk to Western Cluster to come back to Liberia, the negotiation cheated the Liberian people, and the company were only able to pay $10 million out of the $24 million. And you are saying Edwin Snow and his team were able to cash out $3 million. So how did you get to know this, and why should anybody believe it? Why are the facts to say Edwin Snow and others cashed out $3 million United States dollars?
So before Western Cluster could leave Liberia in 2011, there were accrued liabilities in taxes and other expenses, right? Those liabilities were unsettled before their exit or their departure from Liberia. As a responsible senator or national leader, the best thing to do is for the MDA not to be trashed or overlooked, because there was still an agreement between Western Cluster and the people of Liberia. So if Western Cluster wants to return, the agreement that existed before their exit should be respected. You know what Edwin Snow, Gessler Murray, and their accomplices did? They signed on the MDA and signed an MOU. How can you sign on MDA that was ratified, signed by the legislature and the executive branch respectively, for an MOU that was signed in Ganta and not even in Bomi County? I will send you the documents, right? Because I don't just talk without proof, right? I just provided these minerals for the people to see for themselves. This is part 1. This is a 3-part series. Tomorrow I will provide the documents, including the MOU that was clandestinely signed. And I'll also provide an audio. You were listening to the Minister of Mines speaking, Gessler Murray, talking about the trip he and Edwin Snow made to India. So I don't just talk, Ansoni.
And did he mention that they got $3 million out of the deal?
What I would do for you, Ansoni, there was no mention made of $3 million. And they will not tell you to receive money either. But there were pecks, there were kickbacks. The company should have paid $24 million. It's on record. They owed us $24 million before they left. You went to India, carry out Babati negotiation because Mr. Weah is your friend. You come back to the country, you compromise the national interest, and then they just gave $10 million and then they gave kickbacks to a few people. Where's the interest of the country? Where's the interest of the country?
And Martin, I get that part, but the part I want to get clear is, how did you get to know that these guys were giving $3 million in kickback? Where is that information?
No, but so please read that part. I talk about the $3 million. I use an adverb. I didn't say exactly $3 million. Okay. Right? Because I like to be sure before speaking. So I said reportedly. Okay. If you read that part, I was very succinct. Right? I don't know whether you saw the reportedly that I mentioned, because I'm very careful with my words, right?
Okay, that's what I'm trying to ask, because if you say $3 million, now you're saying reportedly. So who reported that?
You know what I get come from sources, credible sources. All the documents I have come from sources.
Okay, your sources told you that. All right, that is enough for me. And Martin, another thing we need to look at here quickly, please. This Western cluster, is it only in iron ore, or is it also allowed based on the MDA to mine other minerals? Because what you have posted on your Facebook page, these are precious minerals. I don't think these are iron ores. So talk to me, based on your NDA that you read, were they supposed to, or are they supposed to be mining iron ore?
They are not supposed to mine other minerals, only iron ore.
And but they are mining other minerals, as we see here. You know, you are saying the Western Coastal was able to mine these minerals. So, and they have taken those minerals to use for themselves.
But who were they using for, Anthony? They have bribed the leaders in the country, the quote unquote leaders.
See, and what you think the leaders of Bomi County are aware that Western Coastal is not only mining iron ore, is also mining other precious minerals belonging to the people of Bomi and the people of Liberia?
The leaders are not only aware, but the people are also aware that the leaders are conniving with the company to mine those other minerals that are not even in the agreement. Can you do this in any country? You can't do that. People take advantage of our country so much. You sign an agreement, say you will mine, you will export iron ore, but you mining and exporting other minerals. It's a violation of the agreement.
It is, and that's what I'm pressing on it. It's a violation.
But go and read the MDA. The MDA, the first thing is Western Cluster, Elenito, right? CC Goa. These are iron ore companies. They are not gold company.
So right? the senator and the leaders of Bomi, who should be taking this complaint to task that, you are in violation here. You are only supposed to mine iron, or why are you mining the minerals? If these minerals we're looking at actually being in mind by them, they shouldn't be doing this. Is a violation. The whole thing must be brought to what the people of Bomi doing, by the way, about this.
Yeah. So I just wrote what I wrote this morning. It's up to the people of Bomi County. I'm willing to help them file a formal complaint because this is illegal mining. It falls under illegal mining. It's not part of the agreement for you to mine all those things you mine and exporting. The agreement is iron ore. Do those things load the iron ore to you before you mining them? But nobody asking the people. They're just taking the mineral out of the country. And the country is very poor. Look at the livelihood of our people in Bomi. Citizens of Bomi are the poorest in Liberia. That county was established in 1984. The road leading to the capital city, Tottenham Bread, is dusty, very dusty in Bomi. That county has produced president before Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She only paved the road to her farm. She left the road going to the capital city. You see how African leaders behave? You can do that in America to pave road to your farm and lead a road going to Washington, D.C. You can do that in America. People take advantage of the country. You use the country resources to pave road to your farm. Then you lead it, the road leading to the capital city where most of the people live. You lead a road dusty and bumpy. Is that fair to the people? Is that justice? Is that equality? Every day we talk about equality, equality, equality. That equality there, that the definition of equality.
And Martin, finally, I want you to speak to this National Housing and Population Census. It was postponed. They postponed it, I think, about 4 times. One of the reasons was lack of funding from the government, even though the partners have been able to chip in. They said they were going to do biometric. They should have trained enumerators. The training was not properly done, even to pay those people for the training. That was an issue. It was a chaotic start. The president was not in the country to be counted. Where are we now? They started it somehow. Where are we now? And can we trust that the information being gathered can be reliable? What you know?
And so the first thing I want to establish is that census is a must be organized by law, right? The law is very clear about census. The law of the Constitution of Liberia says after every 10 years, there should be a national housing and population census. So the government is not doing a favor by holding census. The last time we had census and zoning was in 2008 under the administration of Mr. Weah's predecessor, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. From 2008 to 2018, 10 years. Mr. Weah came to power 2018. We should have held census 2018. We didn't hold census 2018. 2019 came and passed. 2020 came and passed. 2021 came and passed. 2022 is also passed. We are still holding census. This is a blatant violation of the very constitution that Mr. Weah took oath to protect. But again, what is the legislature doing? You have a legislature of indigenous vampires. They only care about their deep pockets and not the people's interest. That country is going nowhere as long as the legislature remains weak. I think we need a national conversation around whether we should have a bicameral legislature or a unicameral. Because the bicameral legislature that we have at the moment is useless. They only care about receiving pegs, kickbacks, brown envelopes. A few of them are doing somehow well, but the rest, very corrupt, greedy, dishonest, deceptive. A lot of them are single fans. Look at the new group of leaders in the country, and Sonny. What has changed in our country since 2018? What has changed? Go to West Point, go to Clarendon, go to Newtown, Sonny went Plunker, go to Doe Community, Lockington, Red Light, Douala, Waterside, PHP. Go to these slum communities. The fundamental question is what has changed. And I want to debate any sedition on this particular subject. What has changed? I hope you organize a talk show and probably invite Mobile, Malu, and myself or Akaros Gray. Let's provide the statistics. What has changed since 2008? Let's assess the government's achievement. Let's evaluate them on the basis of what they said they would do according to the PAPD. And Sonny, I'm asking you as an investigative journalist, let's be honest, what has changed? What really has changed in the area of health?
The CDC is saying a lot has changed, but I will give them that opportunity to say so. We will reach out to them and see if we can get a representative from the CDC to come to the debate to tell us what has changed.
Even if you want us to pay for the debate, I'll pay. I'll pay for the time.
Okay.
Check call one of them. Let's debate what has changed.
All right. I'm sure we'll get somebody. We are good at getting somebody from the CDC,
Yeah. So I will not only pay for the time, but I will pay for the person time that coming from the CDC. So that we discuss what has changed. Maybe for 2 straight hours or 3 hours. Yeah. We'll start from 2018 and we'll come up to 2023. It's unfortunate, Sonny. Look at how the people suffering in that place. Where I said the number of calls I receive every minute, people are complaining. They are tired. They thought this man who have made any difference. The man is all about himself. Look at the mansions and estates they are building. They promised to build 4,000 housing units in West Point. Where the 4,000 housing unit at? Well, where the 2,000 lamp posts? Where the teacher from Nigeria? They promised. Where the coastal highway?
Well, Mountain, we will get you somebody from the CDC. Will reach out to them to see if they can get somebody to debate you. We will allow them to speak for themselves, but I continue to hear they say a lot have changed. You continue to hear from them too that the development that we are having in Liberia, we have never seen it on any administration since 1847. Folks in cyberspace, focus on Liberia, the hour of politics. Mountain K and Kollie, an activist in exile right now, joining us from wherever he is. He said he's in the US somewhere, I can't say. We will go to the phone lines after this break. If you want to participate, you have a question for Mountain of anything that you want to say, the phone line is on the screen. We also posted it on Facebook for you to participate. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be taking your phone calls. We're taking our break right now.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anson Cie. We will now be going to the phone lines, but before I do that, I want to advertise here quickly that tomorrow on the Hour of Politics again, I will be having as guest Senator Daniel Nanten. He is the ANC National Chairman. We'll be talking about the ANC, its positions on government matters in Liberia. We want to know the ideology and philosophy of the ANC and how they will govern should they be selected or elected by the people of Liberia. Folks, we also want to announce to you, Focus on Liberia is on a fundraising project here. We want to expand our operation in Liberia. We want to be able to have reporters in as many counties as we can possibly get to. So we are raising funds. If you want to contribute, the information is in the scrolling text below. You can Zelle or Cash App us. That number is in the scrolling text below. If you read carefully, you will see it. We will now go to the phone lines. We have the man Opa Dwalu is on the line. Opa, how are you doing, my friend? It's good to hear from you today.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you for taking my call. Look, I want to say this to Martin Kollie. Martin, you are credit to your country. Liberia has gotten better because we're born. Thank you so much for what you do. Look, listen, I agree with 100% of everything you just said. But I just call for one reason. And I want Liberians to realize it. This is not a bombing problem. This is not about bombing county. This is a Liberian problem. Let us stop fragmenting our location, our country. Liberia is bombing county. Bombing county is Liberia. Whatever affects bombing county affects the entire country. I want us to remove this conversation about bombing. We are being exploited massively by these foreigners, and they are being able by our very government officials. It's not a bombing problem. It's a Liberia problem. So we all must address it collectively. Thank you so much, guys, for taking my phone call.
Thank you. That was Opa Dwalu there. We have another caller on the line. That man is Jimmy Eastman. Jimmy, you are live.
Wow, Anthony, this show today is quite revealing. Martin, I've been listening to you for a while now. Today, you actually blew my mind. Initially, when you were talking about these fake credentials, I was wondering what can we do to show why these people are able so easily to fix the system? What can we do to improve the system? But when you start getting into the national issues like the mining exploitation, this is not the first time this has happened. This is going on in Grand Gita. People have given me information about similar activities in other places in Liberia. For you to pursue something like this, you have to document it well, and so that you can present it, that it can take a correct legal course. So your work would not be in vain. It would not be like today we hear it and then tomorrow it dies. If you're documenting and organizing this information, it can be pursued. We can pursue these things. So I commend you, but I just wanted to add that you might want to make sure you take that course to defend, one day defend Liberia and bring these things to focus. Thank you again.
All right, we will go to the man Evis Morris. Evis, you are live.
Thank you, Mr. Sear, and greetings to Martin. I think he did an excellent job when it came to the fake degrees and things like that. I think he's been thorough with that investigation, and he was well situated to pontificate on that issue. Where I think he kind of fell back a little bit or regressed is the issue of the contemporary issues on contemporary ongoings in our country, especially with the arms, and even with the thing in Bowman County. I think Mr. Jimmy Eastman put it very well. We like your advocacy, but I think on the issue of the day, you should have done more thorough research and come up with more convincing evidence. I think with the whole container and the guns, I don't think you really convinced us that it was fake. You're just kind of putting in innuendos and just suggesting based on past things from the government that this one must be fake. So that wasn't good. And the same thing that Jimmy said with the bombing thing, you have to come with more solid evidence. There's nothing new that lawmakers and powerful people in counties always get kickbacks from these concession deals. So it's not hard to imagine that Edwin Snow is getting some kickback. But if you want to have your reputation be your value, you have to come always with the strongest evidence possible so that people always know when you say something is true. So overall, good job. I think you should keep doing your work. But before you speak on something, especially something like that with the guns, a big national issue, come with all the facts. Not saying that you're wrong, but it just wasn't enough facts presented when it came to that gun situation. Thank you again, Mr. Sia, for taking my call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evis. Let me go to the line again. We have Harrison Bajibo. Mr. Bajibo, you are live.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And I just want to thank Martin K and Kollie for his jailing and his effort in making Gear to War, making Liberia a better place. And I just want to ask Martin one question. My question is about the government officials, like the vice president, like Senator Nathan Kiege, and all those people that are right now in those positions, including the President Pro Tem, okay, who are already being accused and are not even doing anything to exempt themselves. What are we going to do, or what is he going to do about them now or in the future to make sure that these people are brought to justice?
All right, that is your question, right?
Yeah, that's my question to Martin.
All right, thank you. And one thing he's also asking about Meton Tiaje, one person. I think you question his credentials as well.
Yeah, I forgot to mention him.
Yeah,
yeah.
So go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention Nathan Tiaje, but he has fake degree as well. He's been having fake degree since 1990. Yeah, his master's is fake. Yeah,
So
you want me to address the other concerns?
Yes, please. One? No, go ahead. That's all the callers we have for now. Go ahead and address your concerns.
Oh, okay. I thought you were taking more calls.
No.
So basically, I listened to the callers, and I want to appreciate them. Their contribution is meaningful to this conversation because, of course, we disagree to agree. So everybody will disagree. Everybody will agree with you, But I want to specifically respond to. I think he was the second caller. I think Elvis.
Elvis Morris. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't just conclude on things, right? I was very clear about having pieces of evidence in my possession which are going to be published, including the MOU, including the manifest of the continuum. I was more specific about the continuum. You can say, for example, this continuum came into Liberia and the manifest is saying something else. So isn't that a proof? that somebody is lying, you know, we talk about the MOU that was signed, which is a proof of what we said. You already have an MDA. Why are you signing an MOU? Why are you signing an MOU? And the MOU was signed with all the consent of the citizen of Bomi. The only reason why I said Bomi, right, the situation is unique everywhere. Even in Bon County, resources are being exploited. Grand Jide, Grand Crew, all over. In all the 15 counties, our resources are being exploited. But I was more specific about bombing because I was talking about Western Cluster deal. That's why I had to say bombing, because it has to do with bombing. The other day I was talking about Grand Cape Man County because I was talking about BA Mountain and the Mano River deal. You know, so I have discussed a lot of these concessions at different levels. So I was not basically trying to like stereotype. Maybe people may think that I was trying to stereotype. No, if they are thinking so, then I apologize. You know, I was not trying to stereotype in any way or form. I was just asking a simple question, one that is paradoxical. Bomi, you have all of these resources, but why are your people poor? I was just asking Bomi, Mama Bomi, why are people still poor since 1984? All these resources you have, gold, diamond, bust out. Look at what was taken out of the Blue Lake in Bomi just recently 2 weeks ago. But why are your people still poor? You know? And I'm asking Grand Cape Man the same question. I'm asking Grand Crew the same question. Bon County the same question. I'm asking this same question to all the counties. All the resources you have, why are you still poor? Why are you the 7th poorest? If you check the latest data on poorest country of the world, we are at number 7. Why should we be at number 7? When our country is unpopulated, the resources are more than the people. Is that not a contradiction? Is it not a paradox? Asoni? So we have to be honest. We have to be honest here. Our major problem right now is leadership. As we go to October 2023, this is a time to reflect and get it right. If we can't get it right now, when will we get it right? All of us are getting older. What will we leave behind as an inheritance for the next generation? What will they inherit from us? Bad governance? Corruption? Will corruption be the inheritance that will leave behind for the next generation? Mismanagement of public resources? Academic fraud?
And so, one thing, we can't thank you enough for your time. You have been with us here for 2 hours to be exact, and we can't appreciate you enough. But before we take leave of you, we are in an election here. The governance of the state, I'm not sure they have been up to the task when they have not had this pressure of election politics on their shoulders. Now that has come on their shoulders, what should Liberians expect? More of the same, worse of the same? That is what we want you to close with. And what can you tell Liberians, given what you think is going to happen, in this election year? What should they do? Because the responsibility is not only with the leaders, the responsibility is also with the people. We have these leaders because the people chose them. Your final thoughts.
And we also have these leaders because the process was fraudulent. So we have to balance the equation. Yes, the people chose them, but the process was fraudulent. And Mr. Weah was imposed on the Liberian people because somebody didn't like somebody. We know what happened. The other day I was talking about it. Again, with fights. You know, we know what happened. We know what happened to the electoral system, how it was colluded. But that's a whole different issue for another time. What I have to say to the Liberian people and Sony, we have reached a critical point in our lives as a people. If we can get it right now, we may not get it right tomorrow. Because if you can get it right now, you have another 6 years to suffer. Those of our people listening, my first advice to you would be to vote wisely. don't be carried away by money. Because when a politician gives you 20 United States dollars to buy a voter's card, he's going to get 20 million, right? 20 million pay off as a result of the trade-off he did by buying your card. You have to be smart. Vote smart. The power you have now is now. 6 years or 5 years ago, you didn't have power to remove any one of them. But that power has returned to you. That's democracy. All power is inherent in the people according to Article 1. At any given time, you've got every right to remove the government, but you chose to wait for 6 years. A perfect opportunity for you to change the governance system of the country. And in my opinion, Anthony, there is a need to hit the reset button on governance in Liberia. The current system of governance, or the current clique of governors, are not just incompetent, but they are very corrupt and greedy. Greed is on an industrial scale under the leadership of Mr. Weah. Is Mr. Weah an option for October 2023? My answer is no, in capital letter. I was saying something this morning on one of the local talk shows. Let's go to the statistics of the 2017 elections, right? Mr. Weah got about 72% of his total vote just from Maserado. This means nobody becomes president in our country with all winning Maserado. And he has lost Maserado 2 successive times to the opposition. And he can't win Maserado either in October of this year. So if he cannot win Maserado, it means he cannot be president. Because he got 38% of his other votes from 14 other counties. He got like 62 from Jeb Maserado alone. The people of Maserado are going to vote against him. Because of that, he's not going to be president. That's why they're bringing all the gun thing in the country to put fear in people. Right? So, allow the people to exercise their democratic franchise. 5 years ago, you suffered them. It is time for them to suffer you at the ballot boxes. Why you want to disrupt the process? By using totalitarian tactics. It won't work, Mr. Weah. You can, if you like it right, more than 1 million checkpoints across the country because you say you found cash or gun. Tell everybody to even bust their windshield, not only move the windshield, the tinted windshield. Tell everybody, say nobody even put windshield on. You will not still win the election. My own problem with the opposition is they are divided on the basis of moral arrogance. And if they do not think twice, that's why I've always said, right, if the opposition, right, come together, for example, Mr. Weah cannot even if the opposition, right, do not come together, if those opposition political parties do not come together, if the election is free, fair, and transparent, Mr. Weah can't even enter second round. If the process is free, fair, transparent, he can't enter second round. I'm telling you. Because I know what I hear every day. I know what I see, from where I sit. So I'm just encouraging our people. Some of us have been on this journey for more than a decade. You think I feel satisfied sitting in exile? I won't go back home. I'm supposed to be at the university helping to probably teach a course. I'm supposed to be at the university helping. I don't need a government job, but I won't go back home to help. Because this society where I am doesn't really need me. They have reached the optimal level in terms of human capital. My country needs me more than this society needs me. So I want to go back home. But how can I go back home when my life is being threatened? They're threatening to kill me. They have almost 2 lawsuits against me active right now in the country. When I go back home, I'm going straight to jail. So how will I go back home? How will I go back? My only crime is to speak out. Now, my only crime, I didn't steal government money. I have never worked for government before. My only crime to speak out and to write the truth about what's happening in the country and to defend the rights of the poor people or the Liberian people in general. That's my only crime I commit there. That's my only crime I commit. That's why I will chase out of that country as though I'm not a citizen of Liberia. I want to go back home. A lot of people want to go back home, but how do we go back home when your security is not even guaranteed? Look at the number of mysterious deaths everywhere. President tells you, buy your own CCTV. It means he doesn't even understand the core function of the state, of the government, which is to provide security and safety for the citizens. And you transferring that responsibility to the citizens instead of the government taking its responsibility seriously. So yeah, I just want to say thank you, Mr. C, for a very long while I haven't come on here. I've been really busy with other stuff too. Yeah, while I'm in SI, I have to empower myself educationally as well. So I've been really, really busy with a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So anytime I have an opportunity, I'll come on for us to talk. But please don't forget, organize a debate. You can invite even assistant minister or whatever minister or any executive member of the CDC. Let's talk about what have we achieved since 2018. We'll discuss sector by sector. We'll not just run all over. We'll start from health, we'll go to education, we'll go to agriculture, we'll go to security. The people need to know what you've done for them after 5 years that they should re-elect you.
All right.
We'll provide hard data and facts to justify our argument or perspective on the subject, on the discussion. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for the good job you are doing at FOL, you and Mr. Jai, along with your team members. We really appreciate information dissemination is of essence. In fact, that's the cornerstone for an enlightened society. So you are doing a great job. We appreciate your work. Continue. Liberia will be rescued one day. God bless you, and God bless the Republic. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And thanks to you who have been following this broadcast. I'm Anthony CA, and I want to announce this is how we'll come to the end of this discussion. Martin, we will take your request seriously. And I think folks in the CDC will find somebody who will see the need for us to have a national debate on what the CDC has done for Liberia and Liberians since 5 years into power now. And that is the debate we can definitely have sector by sector. Folks, the song that closes the broadcast is called We Are All Liberians, and that song is closing us right now. Until we see you again, I'm Anthony C, who brought you another edition of Hour of Politics here, Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Please do not forget to contribute to our fundraising project that is ongoing to assign reporters across the length and breadth of Liberia. This is election year. Lies will be all over the place. We want to bring you the facts, and nothing but the facts. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. Enjoy the sun. We are all Liberians, and bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our